Oh shit! What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Engineers That Filters podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson. I just spilled some Fulton hard seltzer all over myself,
Ooh,
lime
baby.
flavored.
Good recovery.
Isn't it lemon lime?
No, it's just. Oh, you're right. But it's green, so it makes me think of limes.
Yeah. Trust me, I've had it. It's lemon lime. I'm Joseph, and tonight I am finally, about goddamn time, drinking my Hop Slam. I have been waiting for this beer for about a month.
Is it finally here? I didn't know that.
Well, it's been here for a while, but finally drinking it on the podcast.
Yeah, so you've had like 4 of them already.
I've had 2. This
There's
is
only
the
2
third.
left in the thing.
No, there's not. There's 3.
I had to reach pretty far back in there. Maybe I was going on the
Maybe
wrong
I
side.
had 3. Maybe this is more. I don't know. I'm
Say
not.
to me, Hop Slam.
Yeah, you can't remember.
You can't. Yeah, he doesn't know.
So
well,
I've got a problem. Get over it.
well, I'm Gabe, and I don't have any beer with me, so I've got a little Moscow Mule.
No copper cup doesn't count.
Yeah, I don't have the copper cup.
It's just ginger beer and vodka.
It sucks because like it's hard. Like I mean, you guys know because you're in Minnesota, but like getting beer, I can't just go to the gas station a couple blocks down. I have to like go to a liquor store, and it's just kind of more of a pain in the ass. And I think it's making me drink less, which is take that as you will. But
Disappointing.
yeah,
I mean, I feel
Oh.
like don't some gas stations have beer here, Joseph, or am I just dumb?
it's like under like 3.8% or something.
It's yeah, it's like really low percentage.
Yeah.
If they,
I
Ham
don't even know if
special
Corona
light.
makes it. Yeah,
yeah, so it's like Busch Light maybe, and like just other shit beers like that, and even like Smirnoff Ice. I think you can get.
Or they're
ooh,
piss water.
Yeah, so nothing really worth drinking.
Mm-hmm. And I'm Dayton, and I am drinking H2 Roads. It is.
Okay.
It is a craft hard seltzer.
Oh wait, can I
Nice.
take a bet here real quick? I think that the name implies that some money gets donated to some cause.
Probably
No,
bikes.
the
Fuck.
brewery is Two Roads.
Ah,
Mm.
So it
like
sounded
it.
like some like clean water bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah, because clean water's bullshit, right?
Yeah, dude,
if it ain't
from
Flint
Michigan.
water, I'm not drinking it.
Exactly. We're from Michigan.
Dude, we still have to have that hard seltzer taste test.
We do, dude, because I've had probably like I don't want to say 10 different ones, like 10 different brands. I've probably had close to 8 though.
Damn.
8 or 9 different brands.
You know those YouTube videos where it's like experts try like
Mm-hmm.
$200 scotch and like a $5 scotch.
$5 scotch.
I would spit that shit out.
Yikes.
Dayton can do that with the seltzers. He can
I
blindfold
gotta
them.
increase my pinky mobility. Right now it's
Yeah.
pretty poor. I need to be able to like really get it up
There you
there.
It's baffling to me how much the craft seltzer game has exploded.
Oh yeah.
Like
I'm
it makes
okay with it.
sense. It makes sense, but it is insane now that there's fucking craft seltzer. Like,
Well,
Like,
that's what you're
less
drinking too,
calories.
Jacob.
I know. I'm not saying I'm mad at it. It's funny because like
See-
White Claw was such a moment, and I felt like okay, everyone drinks White Claw, but then I didn't envision
then-
all these companies getting on the game.
You
See, I
see-
think what it was is Truly came to the game, or they
Yeah.
showed up, and then people were like, "Wait, other people can make this?" And then I think that was the
Yeah.
point, because it was White Claw for a while, and like that was it.
Mhm.
Well, I think it appeals to both genders and it's less calories, right? For the most part, like
I mean,
it hits. I'm not saying that beer is just like a guy thing, but it kind of has that stereotype where like hard seltzer kind of hits both.
And you know what they say? There's no laws on the claws. There's no laws that only White Claw can make them. Boom.
Yeah,
All right.
Damn.
Yeah.
but I
I'm
will
freaking
say like
spitting out
so.
here.
You said that with enough conviction, I'll agree with you.
But like when I was in Florida the other week, like sitting on the beach and like drinking a White Claw was way more refreshing, I
Oh,
thought,
yeah.
than having, unless it was like a Corona was pretty close.
Yeah.
Just because like it's the classic beach
Corona
beer.
with a lime. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Bud Light Lime's pretty good too, actually.
But, like, Having the White Claw was just very refreshing, and like that's just one thing I picked up. It's just a more refreshing drink to have than like a beer, especially like some like craft beers that can get pretty heavy and like
Mhm.
you know,
I think
you
it
go,
honestly might put hard cider out of business.
Good.
I feel like it's
I
kind of
don't
taking
think
that
so.
slot a little
I don't
bit.
think it might lower,
Dude,
but I don't
until fall comes around and everyone's gonna.
Okay,
It's gonna
yeah,
be a
but it's
fad.
like why would you drink Angry Orchard over, you know, a
Taste.
craft seltzer? But the thing with cider is there's so much goddamn sugar in it, you know.
It's
Yeah, I
so
know, but
sugary.
dude, like people don't care. Like people still eat McDonald's and they know it's shit for you.
Yeah.
Dude,
I
Red's
don't know, I feel
Apple
like
Ale will
Yeah,
be
it's like,
around until the day we die.
that's
they like the
cider.
taste.
What is that considered? Then?
That's an
Isn't it
apple
cider?
ale.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, I didn't know that.
But I other hard ciders. I mean, you know, it's gonna stick around. People
Yeah.
just like there's people that just like the taste of it.
Who the
People-
fuck are they?
And they
Yeah,
like
I don't
waking
know,
up
they
with
just like
hangovers.
apple juice, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know.
dude, the hangovers in that have got to be awful. Like, there's so
I feel like
much
some people are
sugar in
like at like a brewery, like they'll have this cider because they don't like beer. But if if there's like a cider and a craft seltzer now
yeah,
on
dude,
tap,
like
it's like
Oh,
yeah, like they'll
Yeah.
go for the seltzer, I think, if they don't like beer, you know.
dude, and like this one has real fruit in it.
Hmm.
Like it's actually like red from the
like are you
from the
spitting
raspberries.
out
from the
fruit?
artificial flavor or colors.
Yeah, from the artificial ones. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Trying to see. Oh, this one also has natural flavors in it.
Well,
My
does
only
it say
complaint-
real fruit though? Like, or does it say?
It says, okay, so filtered water, alcohol from glucose, natural lemon flavors, natural lime flavors, carbon dioxide.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this one, you can read it right there in the label. 100% real fruit. If it'll focus. Look at
Here's
that.
how we stop CO2 emissions. We just put them all into seltzers. People drink them. That's how we stop climate change.
Real fruit.
Everyone's got to take a few for a team and just fucking slam a bunch of White Claws.
Just put all the CO2 in our bellies, and then it won't
Yeah, there we go. It's gone.
All right, dude. I like the way we're thinking. This is the kind of innovation we need to fight climate change.
It's an engineering solution, damn it.
be crazy smart. All right, well, welcome back to the podcast, everyone. This is episode 57 of the Engineers Out Filters podcast. As always, do not forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at EWF Podcast. And you can find episodes of our show every Monday on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. All right, we're gonna kick things out with Joseph. You got a couple of little things you wanna run by us here.
Yeah, so as probably most of you guys have listened to our previous episode, it was about breakups, and one of our lovely listeners is one of my ex-girlfriends. So, which I totally forgot,
Dude.
not gonna lie.
I did not think you were gonna share it on this show. This is great. I'm so excited.
So, you know, Tuesday morning, or I guess it looks like it was afternoon. You know, after because I made the
Instagram
Photoshop
post.
a little late,
Yeah.
so it went up on Tuesday. I get this Instagram message out of the blue, and I'm like, I haven't talked to this person in a while. That's interesting. And it says like, I haven't watched this yet, but I swear to God, if you at me, I'm gonna be pissed. And I was like, well, LMAO, like not by name. And she's like, I swear to God, you shit talking bastard. I'm at work, I'm like, Jesus. And then I had to like go through like and make sure, okay, I really did I say anything?
Did you watch the episode just to double check after it was posted, dude?
This is Joseph's second girlfriend, by the way, so it
Yeah.
wasn't as bad.
No,
wasn't really bad
we're
at
on
all.
good terms. She's great. It's
Yeah.
all good. Or at least I think we're on good terms.
Damage
I don't know.
Yeah.
Control. That's all
Maybe
this
not
is.
after this past episode.
and I said, I guess you'll just have to listen to it to find out what I actually said.
See, that's conviction. You're dedicated to the podcast.
That, no,
exactly. gotta
that's
get that
freaking
list.
Joseph baiting her into listening to the episode.
We
Get
take
those
those.
listens, boy.
Every
Take those.
download counts.
So that's my first anecdote. I just thought it was funny and topical. My second one also happened at work, but today. So I'm sitting at work, and sometimes I listen to music when I'm like just doing something not mindless, I should say. on the computer, like,
Meaningless.
not meaningless. I wouldn't say meaningless.
When I feel my soul getting destroyed.
But like I've been doing a lot of programming recently, so it's like I'm just sitting at the computer all day, and I just want to listen to music because otherwise I'm listening to people talking around me, and then I get focused on whatever bullshit they're saying. Anyway, so the song came on, and it was called "The Sky Is Falling," and then I started thinking about like, remember when like you were younger and that used to be like a thing people were worried about? Like, I don't know if it was jokingly, but like in TV shows and stuff. So it made me think of the
The
movie
sky is
Chicken.
falling. The sky
I
is
was just
falling.
gonna say it's Chicken Little, dude.
Yeah, exactly. That was my first thought, was Chicken Little. And then I started thinking about Chicken Little, which was an okay movie, if I remember it correctly.
This is a very linear progression.
I always get
I
Chicken
like
Little
it.
mixed up with Stuart Little.
Oh,
Stuart
big
Little is very
Very
different.
different movies.
My
Stuart
Big
Little
difference.
is amazing. Chicken Little is okay.
There's an entire Instagram page called Fuck Stuart Little, I think is what it is. And like it's literally just this dude who like maxes out the Instagram character limit about saying like this like very vast description of how he would just murder Stuart Little. And like the images on it are just fucking hilarious. Oh, it
How is
might
that not
be
showing on copy pastas?
it might be I fucking
It
hate
has.
Stuart Little. I can't
I
remember
wanna follow
exactly.
that.
Either way.
Anyway.
So back to Chicken Little. I don't know how much you guys remember of the movie, but
Wasn't
there.
that like alien? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's aliens, and like he thinks the sky is falling because this tile falls off one of their spaceships that projects the sky, so like it's camouflage.
Hmm.
And so he's got this like tile basically of like a screen showing the sky, and that made me think of like a terrarium kind of deal, like showing the
I was
sky.
gonna say Truman Show, but
Well, I
Yeah,
guess
same
kind of
thing,
like
yeah.
that. But then it made me realize that's basically the flat earther idea, is that like we're in a terrarium. So I'm now convinced that the flat earther movement it started from Chicken Little. Is my point. And like the
Shit,
fact that
bro.
there's like these tiles are like we're in this terrarium and the sky's a projection and all this shit. It's from Stuart Little or Chicken Little. I'm
dude, I
convinced.
feel like it would come from Truman Show first.
If I had to pick a conspiracy theory to draw from that, I would go with life is a simulation first. Like we're somebody's little pet and we're in a terrarium and like they're watching us. Like the
But
Truman
that's kind
Show.
of what flat Earth is.
Is it?
I guess I don't know
that's
enough
what,
about flat
That's what
Earth.
one of the branches is. There's like
Dude,
There's-
there's so many variations of that garbage.
it is,
Yeah.
but one of them is that like it's essentially a terrarium and like we're experiments or something like that.
If you want to hear more of us talking about flat Earth theory, listen to our episode about conspiracies. I don't remember which episode it is, but that's
Probably the
something. That's a
podcast.
trip.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So
All right,
those
do you
are my
guys-
2 anecdotes for this week?
Do you guys want to hear? So I just found the Stuart Little page, and it is
Please.
indeed I fucking hate Stuart Little. And
On
this is
Instagram.
yeah on Instagram. This is his
Give
most
us a
recent one. It's a pretty short one. He or she has vastly decreased the amount of characters they're typing for this, but it's how would you kill the crunchy little fucker and send him back to where he came? I personally go for the good old fashioned smash him with a brick and brush my teeth with his guts. Can't beat the classics.
What's the image on that post?
Yeah, can you
It
show
is
us?
yeah. Here, I'll show it on here. It might not focus very well.
Oh, it's like a meme.
People discussing ways to.
People discussing ways Thanos could kill Sir Little. What the fuck?
Yeah, and then
How
the next
often
image.
does he post?
That's the next image. So I think the implication is that they have come to the conclusion that you kill Stuart Little by putting him up Thanos' ass. Is I think
That
based
was
on
the-
this
that was the
image,
Ant-Man theory. Yeah.
like that looks like something just got shoved up Thanos' ass. So,
Dane, how often does this guy post? That's what I really want to know.
well,
Is it
How
like-
much
dude,
of
he
his
hasn't
life does he dedicate to
dude,
this?
he hasn't posted in a long time. His most recent one is July 12th.
Mm.
That's
Of
fair.
2019.
Yeah, he used to post a lot more.
I feel like he's.
I feel like there's only so much Stuart Little content you can churn.
Honestly, like,
Dude,
okay, but
he
what
has
do you do in your life?
131 posts on his Instagram. That is a lot
Not
of
that
Stuart
much.
Little hate.
Yeah, but it's not as much as I thought it was gonna be.
It's more than I have on my Instagram.
Yeah, but you don't
Yeah.
have your Instagram doesn't have a theme that you're dead.
It's me. That's the theme.
You need to put a lot more thought into your Instagram posts.
Apparently, I need that max of the character limit.
You need a gimmick, Gabe.
You don't have that cult following.
The gimmick is it's about me.
Okay, you need a good gimmick.
Oh, that's the
That
problem.
people actually like.
Fuck off. I set you guys up for that one. I knew it was
This is
coming,
too
but yeah.
All right, Dayton, you had something you want to talk about that started. It started off a lot of synapses firing in my brain. All right, so we need to talk about this.
Yes.
It
Okay.
also started 5 minutes before we started the show, but
That's
Yeah.
not important.
So a while ago, I feel like I saw a tweet about it, and it was everyone has a favorite burner on their stove, and they just refuse to admit it. And I guess
That's just a false premise of a tweet.
why is it a false premise?
Because why would you not admit it?
I guess,
I
but
will
like,
proudly say what my favorite burner
or
is.
like they don't, or I guess maybe not. Maybe the wording wasn't admit it, but it's like
they don't
realize
recognize
it. Yeah, or something like that. And what made me think of it again was that I was cleaning my kitchen this past weekend, and I was cleaning my stove, and I was like, man, this one burner is a lot dirtier than the rest of them. And I was like, shit, dude, this must be my favorite burner. And like thinking back on it, it's the front right, because the front right one for me is the biggest burner, and it's the front
Alright.
row.
let's go around. What's yours?
There is levels to this shit. All
There's
right?
we
many
cannot-
levels.
No, before we
Yeah.
go into this, everyone just say their favorite one.
Front
What's
right.
yours?
Front right.
Interesting, because mine's front left, and I'm a lefty.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean,
But does
I
it
don't
depend
hate
on
front
burner
right.
size though for you guys? Because
Okay,
Yeah,
that's where
it needs-
that's what I'm
it
saying.
needs to
There's
be the
levels
same
to this shit, Dayton. All right, let me break it down for you. First of all, it matters on the type of stove you have, right? If back when we lived in the house, back at Tech, we had the fucking coils. I don't know what the correct term is for that.
Elec-
It's an electric stove.
Electric, yeah, with like the metal coils, right? The front
they
right was
bent
big, and the back left was big, and then the front left and back right were small. So it was a
Yeah.
staggered format. Now, currently, me and Joseph have a glass stove. The front two are
Glass
big,
one.
and the back two are small.
But
They're
the
both
front,
electric, right?
yeah,
Well-
the front left can be small or big. It's
Yeah,
got
it has two different settings.
Interesting.
okay.
Which
There's
throws
also,
everything.
if you have a natural gas stove, I'm pretty sure they're all like technically the same because it's just a, there's
burner.
grates and then it's a burner, so they're all the same size.
Well, no,
No,
I have a
gas
gas
stoves
one,
will-
and mine is not the same size.
Yeah, gas ones they'll be different sizes.
I didn't
Okay.
know that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, okay, fair enough. What I'm saying is it matters in your configuration. It also matters on how low your microwave is, or whatever your fan, whatever you have above the stove, like how high that is, because that'll affect how easily you can reach the back burners, right?
Or if you just have long arms.
Okay, you know what?
Long arm game.
But if you're too tall, well, I don't know. Your height also depends on how well you can see into a back pot or something like
Yeah.
that. It just makes the height of what's above the stove is a factor. What I'm trying to get at here is, if anybody's favorite is in the back, they can just fuck right off. Why the fuck would you use the back when the front is available?
Seriously,
Right?
dude.
Dude,
Honestly,
we're gonna
I
see
think
a drop in our views just because there's gonna be like
you know
half
what.
the
You know
people
what.
using
Good.
back
Good.
burners.
I don't want those people listening anyway.
those are dirty listens anyway.
Scum.
Like,
Absolute
there's always-
dogs.
There's always gonna be a burner in the front that's large, and that maybe it's
in
both.
charge.
Maybe it's both, or maybe it's one. But you're gonna use one in the front, and it's probably gonna be the large one because it's if you're making something big, unless you're making like soup in like a smaller pot or whatever. But
Yeah, like I can't. I think the most burners I've ever used at one time was 2, and that's enough for the front 2. I don't think I've ever used the back ones.
I've never used more than 2.
I've used 3 before, but I'm making pasta because I make my own sauce. So I need one for the sauce, one for the pasta, and one for the meat and veggies.
Mm.
But that's nice.
Okay.
I can use a smaller burner for the sauce. It's a smaller pot. I need a big one for to boil the water and a big one for all the accoutrements.
Yeah.
I too know fancy words.
But I would-
I am very smart.
I
To be
could,
honest though, like there were times at the
fuck
house.
you.
There were times at the house when we had multiple people cooking and
Oh,
ended
all
up
of them
being
were being
using all
used.
4. But 4 is a dangerous game, man, because like three is manageable. Once you get to 4, one's pushing on another one, and it's just you're not getting maximum efficiency on heat transfer. I don't think.
Someone's
but-
sapping that heat, dude.
There was also 8 of us, so I mean,
That means that we each had half a burner to work
Yeah, we each
with.
had half a fucking burner.
I hope I didn't get half the small burner.
Yeah,
There's
honestly.
been times where I'd like get back and all the burners would be used, and like I'm just gonna bake. Like fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna
You gotta
use the
you
burner.
gotta be conscious of that shit. If you're about to make a 3-pot dinner and you're starting at 5 o'clock, get out of here. Either go early, or you go late. You can't be using a majority of the burners during dinner time.
Right.
Yeah, someone's gonna have your freaking. I
Get
don't know. I
side-eyed.
don't know what I'm saying here, but I'm shaking my fist. That's all
Yeah,
that
same.
matters. They're gonna freaking beat you up.
But another thing too is like, especially when we had the electric stove with the coils, half those coils weren't level.
None of them were
No,
level.
I don't
Fair
think
enough,
I've
but
seen
some
one
were
of
worse than others, so that also factors into your favorite burner decision. I
That is
could see
true.
someone having a favorite in the back, and the front two are just like fucked. You know what I'm saying? If
See-
they're both electric and they're like slanted like this, you know what I'm saying?
Nah,
I had
even
a
then, dude, I don't
favorite
give a fuck,
pan
dude. Back rollers.
combination with the burner, where if I used a specific burner, I would use a different pan because it was bent
Yeah.
in the right way that it would counteract it.
Dude, I remember cooking like steak, and then like you put the butter in, and it would just kind of like tilt one way.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. I don't even need to fucking tilt it to scoop it. Like, great.
That is what's nice about our glass top, which I'm not a huge fan of the glass top in general, but it is, at least it's level.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most gas burners are too, because those aren't gonna warp. But yeah,
No, yeah,
the electric coils are fucking horrible with
they're
that.
dog shit. They're so bad, and they don't. I mean, that's probably the glass tops. They don't cool very well, and
They don't heat up really well either.
yeah,
They take forever to heat up.
They take forever to heat up, and then they will not like they stay hot for way too goddamn long.
They look really nice though, and they're easy to clean.
They
but
do look nice.
I don't like them.
goddamn,
I don't like them.
I don't like them either.
Do you have
But-
a gas stove?
I have a gas stove,
Nice.
and it's
That's
one
so
of my
nice.
it's one of my like considerations when I'm looking for an apartment. If it doesn't have a gas stove, it instantly gets like a negative 80%,
Okay, but
like to the
are
score.
they? Is one more expensive than the other? Is that a thing?
I mean, you have
They
to
about
pay
the
for
same
gas.
price?
Gas is more expensive, yeah.
Just-
I mean,
yeah,
it's also
gas.
that a lot of the houses out here don't have natural gas run to them,
Mm,
so
Okay.
it's more rare to have a
right.
gas stove out here.
See, when I'm looking for an apartment, like the small concessions that I look for are like good internet. Like that's up there for me. Not stove I can live with, I guess.
I feel
I
like
think
I
it's
don't
kind of
know.
like it's like having two monitors. Once you go, you can't go back. But I feel like once you have a gas stove, Gabe, then you'll be like, I can't not have it anymore.
Okay, but if it came to you can have gig internet or you can have a fucking electric stove.
Dude, I don't
over
need gig
gas.
internet, dude. I can survive on like 50 megabits.
I need it all. I need all the megabits.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ,
that's hard
dude.
for me. I'd probably pick internet too, because I haven't had glass stove yet, so I'm adapted.
Yeah,
the
I-
cities are pretty good because there's a lot of fiber ran throughout like a majority of it. So
I grew up with shit internet and a gas stove, and man, I miss the gas stove.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you.
hey,
Us
Fair
country boys.
Every time
Oh
I
my
go home, so much easier to cook.
It
The
is,
pan
dude.
heats up immediately. Oh,
Mhm.
So Joseph, you also started bringing up another layer to this kitchen situation.
all right. Everyone has a favorite spatula, a favorite type of spatula.
Mhm.
Because listen, you get the metal spatulas, you get the plastic ones, and you get rubber.
Hey, that's not all the options. You're
And then
forgetting
there's the
one-
rubber scrapers.
You're forgetting another one.
Wood?
Bamboo.
Oh, bamboo.
A bamboo spatula.
Oh,
I've
seen
wait,
bamboo
spatula?
spoons.
I was
that would
thinking
not work.
I was
well,
thinking just bamboo, like utensils in general.
No, I'm talking just spatulas, just like the flipper spatula. You know, you're making pancakes.
I
or a
don't
burger
have
on the
one.
grill.
You don't have a spatula?
Did I stutter?
What would you use a spatula for?
I don't know. I use it over a spoon when I'm like stir frying stuff.
I definitely have a
Or a
preference
spatula.
on like
I'd
what
rather
I'm
use a
cooking.
spoon.
If I'm cooking meat, like I want a metal spatula. But if I'm cooking like I don't know anything else, I'd
It
rather
depends
use plastic.
on the heat and what I'm cooking on.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah,
like
that's true.
like
If
I'm
it's on
not gonna use.
like a stove versus like a grill.
It's
Grill
not
you
even
got-
that. It's on the type of pan.
Yeah, if I'm
Mm.
cooking with like
Sure.
a Teflon coated, I don't want to scrape that off. You know, I want to use a softer.
You don't want to
Spatula
eat
for
that Teflon?
Not really, because then it loses its non-stick, and then it's a useless pan.
Oh, I don't know. I would be more worried about eating Teflon personally, but
I'm more concerned with the quality of the pan.
Yeah, I agree with Joseph. I almost never, I actually pretty much never use a metal spatula because I'm afraid of scraping off stuff, off the nonstick. But I use rubber/silicone majority because it's a thicker spatula. I can manipulate stuff better. But I'll go for the thin plastic if I need to get under something because the silicone isn't great for getting under like bread or like under things that are stuck to a pan.
Yeah,
That's
to
where
make
the
like
plastic
a
comes in.
grilled cheese, for example, as Dayton knows all too well.
I have not made a grilled cheese. I have not eaten a grilled cheese in
Since the
over
incident.
a year.
Can we
Since the
talk about
incident.
this story at all on the podcast?
Yes,
Yeah.
we have too many times.
Okay, I can't remember.
And fuck all y'all for
He
thinking.
misses them.
Didn't you buy? I mean, you could. It's not like you couldn't make it. You can get the vegan cheese and shit.
No, it because he
I
started
know it's out
this
of principle.
before-
I'm just saying.
He
It's
started
not
this
just 'cause he's
before he
vegan.
went vegan.
It's not because he's vegan. It's because he's an asshole.
The
It's 'cause
real
he's
asshole.
prideful.
The real asshole is the one who freaking insinuates that I'm the grilled cheese man.
You were.
You were.
You definitely
There's
were,
no.
dude.
We have
Oh,
video
wait.
You
documentation.
did, like,
Wait,
8 in
hang
a
on a
night,
second.
and
Hang on a second. I think I just heard a key word there from both Joseph and Jacob, and that was were.
Yeah.
You were at the time when we called you that. We haven't called you that recently.
Oh,
Obviously,
wait,
you're not the
hold
grilled
up.
cheese man because you
Hold
haven't
up.
eaten a grilled cheese.
Wait,
And
that,
I
all
thought
right.
that was pretty clear.
Okay,
But
okay.
Dayton, let me make something else clear. It's the title didn't transfer. I'm not saying somebody else is now. You were it, and now the title's gone because you ruined it. All right.
I
'Cause
don't
no
know.
one else
Max
picked up
Max
the
seemed like he
mantle.
would pick it up no problem.
Pick up the mantle.
You know, maybe he would have if you wouldn't have been such a dick about it. All right. You
had
tarnished
spit
the
on
good
it.
name of the grilled cheese man of the house.
It was an honor, and you took it as an insult.
In honor, maybe for plebeians. That is not for me.
Oh,
And I will
God.
die on this hill, damn it.
I know you will.
So Dayton, you're telling me you don't have a spatula.
I do not have a spatula.
You're using spoons for everything, and you're telling me bamboo is your go-to?
Yeah.
Tell me more about this.
Well, I mean, I like bamboo because one, it won't scratch like pans up. Two, I don't have to worry about like metal. Like I don't have to worry about finding nice metal ones because if I wanted metal ones, I would have to like really spend some time and make sure I'm getting like a good skook of
Quality
metal.
one, yeah.
And then plastic. I mean, dude, fuck plastic, dude. I hate plastic so much.
A good hard plastic spoon though. Those can be pretty like the big spoon.
Yeah, dude, they'll be
need-
really good when they break because there's two types of plastic, Joseph. Plastic that's broke and plastic that's gonna break. And you know what happens when
But
it
how much
breaks?
force are you putting on
And
these
then,
spoons?
Dude, it doesn't need a lot of force if it's been heated up a lot.
Yeah, that's why you gotta be careful when you're using
Or
plastic
Or down
instruments.
a lot. Dude, regardless, no plastics.
Fair.
Bamboo all the way. Natural.
Is it-
Okay.
I mean, I've never tried to scrape something with like a wooden spoon, but I feel like you could do it if you really tried.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
I don't know.
easily. And the
You
best
need to
part
have,
about it is like
a steel toe bamboo.
I'm saying this as like a
spoon.
bad thing. Like I worried if I used much force, I would scrape a pan with a wooden spoon.
oh, dude, yeah,
No,
you'd have to be pretty dumb.
No, to say it like that.
You'd have to be like putting like your entire body into it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
feel
then
like
like
you'd
the
break
really
the
nice
spoon
thing about
before that.
bamboo spoons is if you like let some like rice crustify on there, like I might have done many times before, you can just soak them and then like through the xylem and phloem tubes from the bamboo, which like uptake the water. At least I think they have xylem and phloem tubes. Actually, they
It's a
might not
plant.
because bamboo's a grass, and I
Yeah.
think trees have xylem and phloem tubes. But
Trees
regardless,
definitely do. I don't know about grass.
yeah, that's what I'm
Doesn't
saying.
grass only go one way?
I don't know.
I don't know what
I don't know.
about.
But anyway, so it has ways to like uptake that water, and then it will expand, and then it will also like soak up more water, so then like the rice will or whatever crustified on your spatula comes off a lot easier.
But that's my thing about wooden spoons is like
Hey, this
they
this is
never
not
feel-
wooden. This is grass
Sorry.
because it's bamboo.
Okay. Either way, they never seem like you clean them all the way. It feels like things seep into the wood or bamboo and they just kind of stay there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like a cast iron pan. Like
Yeah,
it's
you
just
season it.
adds-
It's
You
seasoned.
season it, you add
Yeah.
flavor. Really seals in the flavor.
Yeah.
It adds in the flavor of rice.
I will say that rice stir thing that we had at the house, that bamboo is like
Mhm.
half a spoon, half
Oh,
a
I know
spatula.
exactly what utensil.
That was
you're
the
talking about.
best utensil in the house.
That's
Don't
what
at
I'm
me.
saying.
I hate it when people use it for not rice though.
I used it for not rice all the
I
time.
use
God
it for
damn
so
it.
much other than rice.
It was a rice spoon.
I used it for meat like a lot.
Oh, I use it to brown
Oh.
meat all the time.
Yeah, like ground beef, like chopping it up. It was
That
perfect
honestly
for that shit.
triggers me right now.
It
Why
works
would you use
so
a
well
goddamn
for that.
spatula.
Because it was just, it's a nice,
It was
feels
so
good in the
convenient.
hand. It's nice and long.
I don't
you
know.
you
So
gotta
right
have
now
that
it sounds like we
It
have
was pretty
3
short.
bamboo fans.
I'm
and
not saying
one-
I'm anti-bamboo. I'm just trying to bring
I
up
don't know,
some
dude.
arguments
That's
against
what I'm picking up.
it. All right.
length.
Gabe, what's your utensil of choice?
Oh my, I have a quick aside. Today I was talking at work about, we were talking about people who do shit for a reaction or do shit to make a point, and I'm like, I've got that guy. In my back pocket, his name's Dayton. He'll eat a whole kiwi just to fucking get a reaction. One
it's more like an absurd reaction. Like I don't
Yeah, no,
I don't want
told him
like
about the
I don't want
story
like
of
a
you.
I don't want a
Yeah.
positive reaction. I want a reaction like what the fuck?
Right.
Can you
So
tell
I
that
was-
story quick? Gabe?
So I was telling this guy about how Dayton at lunch, he would just be like, we were sitting at the lunch table one day, just like talking to one of our friends, Joe. He's like, "You think I could eat this whole thing in one bite?" He's like, "I bet I could," and he just like fucking goes for it.
It's like
Nails
kiwi
it.
fruit.
Yeah, which fucking nails it. And I was saying I couldn't do it from the hair. And then he was saying that he has a guy like that where like he used to like see how many quarters he could shove up his nose.
What the fuck?
Oh.
And I asked him how much
God.
money he made it up to. He's like, yeah, he made it up to like $1.50 once.
That's pretty fucking impressive.
And I
All
was
right,
like,
I'm about to call Dayton out, and I don't care.
no,
so-
he would do that. Dayton would
No, no.
totally be that type
No,
of
no. I'm talking about some Snapchats that you sent into the chat the past couple days from 3 years ago. So
Wait,
Oh,
what?
I know where you're going with
I don't
this.
even remember this, dude. I am not a fan of where this is going.
The
Gabe-
one
Okay.
Gabe sent.
Gabe sent some old videos of us. Oh, I wasn't there yet, but of them
You
In
were
the
in New
dorms.
Zealand at the time.
snorting hot cocoa powder. All right,
Mm-hmm.
for no
What about
reason.
Again,
no goddamn reason.
It's
We
his
were
flavor
young.
reaction.
We were still young, but we were younger, drunk.
I wasn't
and
there.
dumb.
I wasn't friends with them yet, but like I was talking to Joseph, I'm like, that is the most like middle school this will impress girls shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
See, but the thing is, like, I don't remember doing that to impress girls. I remember thinking, dude, this will make my friends laugh. Like,
That's what I'm saying. You're that person, man.
Yeah, okay, yeah. For you, Dayton, I totally buy that. For other people who are doing it in that video, I don't buy that. But it's just like a lot of the things you do, Dayton, have that vibe to them, which is like the middle school gross out. And the male mind is like, this will impress like girls, which I know isn't the reason you do it, but it's just like so fucking funny to me. Like, you remember him eating the whole kiwi? One time we were sitting in the house, you should eat a whole fucking orange.
Yeah, I remember that dude.
In one plate.
I said, do you remember when Dayton and Joe had a competition to see how few bites they could eat an entire apple?
I got it
with?
in 3 bites. I got it in 3 bites, and it was a hefty apple. That was seeds, core, stem, and all.
So you guys no, you take the stem out from what I remember, but the entire
Yeah.
there would be nothing left.
3
That's what I'm
bites.
saying.
3 bites.
And then you also do shit to prove a point. Like you eat like 8 grilled cheeses, and then someone makes something. You're like, no, I'm done.
Cold
My
turkey.
time is over.
Cold turkey.
I can't remember. You've done that with something else too.
I've
Or you just,
probably
like,
done that with a
stop
lot of
doing
different things, like,
Yeah.
to be
Probably.
honest.
But like, oh,
God
you can just. Sometimes you can kind of drive him in that direction. And it's like, dude, you totally do this, and then you can like, no, no, like, that's totally you. It's like, I'll never do it again. It's like,
Alright.
I
We-
cannot. I won't deny it. won't deny it.
Do we have any other strong kitchen opinions we need to get out right now?
Dude.
See,
I
Parchment
didn't say
paper.
what my favorite spoon
Parchment
was,
paper is superior to aluminum foil in almost every way.
Interesting.
I have never used parchment paper in my
Let me
life,
ask.
and I don't
Okay,
plan
let me ask
to.
you this, Dayton. I would. I'm leaning to agree with you, but I have one use case where I might not. You know, I make this big pesto sandwich, chicken sandwich.
Oh,
I
and then you
bake it,
wrap
right?
it in tin foil.
I wrap it in tinfoil to retain the heat while it's
Okay.
baking.
See
I don't-
that's why I had that caveat.
about baked potatoes?
Whatever the fuck. You can do it with potatoes pretty easily too.
Can you actually?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, with like heat, like if you're trying to like retain heat, obviously parchment paper isn't gonna do jack shit. But if you're just
You're
like
about, like-
roasting, if you're roasting shit,
Yeah.
if you're doing anything like that, perfect non-stick, and you can just throw it in the trash.
Yep.
Like if you're throwing away aluminum foil, I don't know. That just feels like what the fuck.
I mean, we do that, but I feel like you can't really recycle it because there's shit on it.
I know that's why I don't buy it.
What
Yeah.
about for making? You can't really make bacon on parchment paper.
Oh, you're
It's
asking
kinda
the wrong guy.
I mean, it's
So
definitely like
Yeah.
it's definitely wasteful, like environmentally, but it's like
Because
it
the
has
nice thing too
properties
about
that you
aluminum foil is you can kind of like fold it, like manipulate the shape of it a little bit, whereas parchment paper kind of just sits, which is fine for certain use
Mhm.
cases. But
yeah, I don't know. I just think that like parchment paper can fill like 90% of the use cases of aluminum foil. I think
hot
that it's a
take.
real savior.
To
It's a
who?
savior to us all.
Yeah, to everyone.
To the
To
planet.
anyone who has an oven.
Dude, I just told you there won't be climate change if we all drink hard seltzer. All right. All the
Okay.
CO2.
There's CO2 in
hard
beer
seltzer.
too, Gabe.
No, shh. It's all in hard seltzer.
I got a question. This isn't really opinion. I just gotta know. In the fridge, does the crisper drawer do jack shit?
Absolutely.
All right, those
You think it
drawers.
really keeps things crispy?
Dude,
Does it?
I'm gonna be frank
It-
with you here.
It-
Those two
doesn't
bottom
it helps
drawers.
mitigate humidity, doesn't it?
I know that's
That's
what it's
what the little
supposed to do.
That's what the dial is for.
Yeah,
It just
but I don't
lets
know.
out.
But
It
I
allows more
understand.
airflow so that the humidity doesn't sit in there.
I understand what it's supposed to do, Joseph. I don't know if it actually does it because those drawers aren't like there's not like a rubber seal around them when you slide it in. Like I feel like there's still a lot of air getting in there.
But it's
know what
gonna
I'm
be
saying?
slightly different air.
But it
Question
can.
What were you
mark.
gonna say
That doesn't
about the
mean it
drawers?
can't
Oh,
help.
I have never put anything in those.
So
Like
we used to just
anything?
put beer in them.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say,
They're
haven't
perfect
put
for beer.
anything in them. No.
I mean, cause I've been putting veggies in there just for shits and giggles, mostly because I don't have room on my shelf. I mean, Joseph, I have our divisions in the fridge, right? So I use them for veggies, but I still don't know if they do anything or anything meaningful. You know?
I don't know,
It
dude.
helps separate things. That's about it.
Yeah.
If you have
Yeah.
like loose veggies that you don't want rolling around on like just a shelf,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it helps to because they're it's basically just like putting them in a bowl more or less, so it's just all together.
I think
No, I'm not saying we should get rid of them because they're good for organization. I'm just talking about the crisper function.
actually I think next time I go shopping I'm gonna put my soy milk in there, but I'm just gonna pour it in.
Better be a pretty clean change.
You just have like a 1 cup measuring scoop and just scoop it
Yeah,
out. And, like,
yeah.
Just like
you
a
know,
ladle.
I gotta keep it crisp.
God damn.
You know what I really miss about Houghton specifically in the kitchen is when it got cold out.
You could stick your
Just
beer
put our
outside.
beer in the foyer or literally outside.
Yeah.
Or we'd buy what we do when we bought a keg is I mean it'd be kind of cold, but it warms up after a while. So we'd put it in a trash can, and
Just
then we
fill
would
with
just take a
snow.
shovel and just put fucking snow in it, and it would
We
fucking
pack
work.
that shit too.
Yeah,
I remember
pack
like
it down.
pushing it like not sealing,
that's-
but like
that
packing
was
it down
so
in there.
convenient.
It
Like,
was. It was.
Just-
Also,
It saved so
also,
much beer or fridge
our-
space.
our house did not retain heat at all. Which,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, it was
very
better
true.
than most houses, honestly, for the area. But yeah,
was built in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my topic I wanted to talk about. So this kind of came to me today when I was thinking about what I've been doing this past week, and mostly it's been just watching Nakey Jakey because I fucking love this dude. All right, I've talked about him before on the podcast, but do yourself a goddamn favor, go on YouTube and look up Nakey Jakey and just watch some of his videos, because to me, like they're just pure joy. like they just make me so happy because one, they're funny because of the script and the editing and the subject matter, but they're also very heartfelt. Like they're very like personal, you know. So it's not just like this will be funny. Let's do this video because it'll be funny. It's like I really care about this topic. How can I talk about it and also make it funny? You know. Um, and yeah, he's just amazing and hilarious. And I was thinking like I often like go back to his videos when I need like a pick me up, like when I'm feeling kind of just like in a funk or just out of it. I'm like, Nakey Jakey videos will always make me happy no matter what. No matter how many times I like rewatch them, like it'll always just make me happy. So I was curious with you guys, what are the things in your life that no matter what will make you happy?
Date, you had a couple things you wanted to say before we started rolling. Can you do the voice? Do the voice, come on.
These things always make me happy. Beer, sex, and a good steak. Because those things will make a man a man.
Oh my god.
You forgot a cold beer. Come on, Dayton.
No, that was
I-
the first thing.
Oh,
What?
sorry. You should have said a cold beer.
Oh, cold beer. I was going to say, I was like, I don't think I missed beer. I think beer is the
Label
first
out.
one.
Label out.
Yeah. A cold beer. Some hot sex. And a nice, rare steak. Uh,
Oh god.
But yeah, in case we have new listeners, that is about the opposite of me. I don't eat steaks. 2, I don't really care that much about sex. And beer is just alright. I like beer, but it's not one of the few things that makes me really happy. I like seltzers.
I guess like for when I think about it, I think about things that can distract me in a moment. I guess it can kind of like take me away for a brief amount of time. So
I was just thinking that Joseph
What?
started bobbing his head like, take me away, take me away, take me away, take me away.
Special place. Pocket full of sunshine, man.
Yeah, I know
Never
the
makes me
song.
sad.
Anyway, Gabe.
Anything that can like give me like pure distraction and engagement, I guess is probably like a better word.
Mhm.
Like I can definitely like get into points where like if I'm playing like video games with you guys, like I get really engaged into those and like can focus on that and I kind of like forget about everything. Even going to the gym makes me pretty happy. Snowboarding, like stuff that I'm like actively like focusing on or like focusing on.
Mhm.
Also, I think the biggest thing for me is like if I feel like my social, I don't know, sometimes like being around, just being like in a room with like my friends, like really recharges like my emotions. Like I feel a lot better, just even if it's just a stupid conversation.
Yeah, there's some sides behind that. Just being in a room with people, like,
Mhm.
just inherently, you don't have to say anything. It just like engages you more.
Yeah, like Sunday when we recorded the episode, like I felt really good just like having a conversation. I mean, obviously we had the conversation on the podcast, but we hung out a little bit after, and like that was just really refreshing. Having that distracts me.
Right.
Plus,
on.
afterwards, we went to a bar and we got
Dude,
that
that
some.
game. Oh my god.
Dude,
There's-
we went to this arcade bar, Gabe and I. They had this deal, $25 for 80 tokens.
Which are normally 25 cents a piece.
Yeah, a fanny pack and 6 domestic
What?
tall boys.
You got a
Yeah.
fanny pack.
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
hold on, I got it right
actually
here.
have it.
All right. Well,
For audio listeners, Joseph and Gabe are grabbing. fanny
They're
packs.
matching. We're cute like that.
are those
It's a-
neon or what?
They're neon, yeah.
Oh my
Plus,
god.
you can hear all the.
Mr. fucking
Full of
Moneybags
tokens.
over here.
Yeah, we still have half our tokens left. So,
Yep.
but
So
there was
yeah,
this game we played. It was called what was it called?
which Death
Death
Ball.
ball.
Death Ball, dude. That game was the best game they had there. It was a modern, well, in quotes. It was made recently, but it was like it had the retro art style. But it was like wizard soccer is the best way to describe it. It's 2 buttons, so you have a joystick and a
And a
physical button.
A jump button.
Yeah, so you can like jump and then you create these bubbles that like there's a ball, right? like soccer, and you're trying to put it into your net, and you can have these bubbles that like redirect it. And there's like, it's very simple, but if you like took it seriously, there's a ton of strategy to it, and it felt super good to play.
You move, you jump, and you can like do a dash, and that's basically it. But you have like an infinite jump because every time you double jump, it leaves a bubble, and then you can only leave one bubble at a time. So like you jump again, and it'll get rid of the first bubble. But
yeah,
but yeah, so you can like constantly redirect yourself in the air.
It's kind of like Rocket League in the sense that it's super simple, but like it's.
yeah, and I
Like,
fucking
skills
love those
scaling.
games
Mm-hmm.
where it's very simple, like anybody can pick it up, but the skill cap is fucking limitless, right? I mean, it's kind of like Smash Bros too, where like anybody can play that game really. Like
Mhm.
it's, I mean, there's a lot of buttons, but the concept is very simple. Like don't fall off, right? But
Right.
skill
Yep.
cap's like fucking infinite. People are still coming up with new stuff to do.
Hmm.
I love those games.
So that was a really fun time.
Distraction
Yeah, I was thinking
made me really happy.
I was thinking about that too, Gabe, because like I was trying to think of like, does music do it for me? Does TV and movies do it for me? And it's like I found when I'm picking music in particular, I don't listen to music to change my mood. I listen to music that matches my mood often. Like
Yeah.
I'm in the mood for this, I'll listen to it. I don't really listen like to something to try to change my mood.
Dude, there's so many people who have a sad playlist. I'm not one of those personally. But there's so many people that do.
I don't get that. That to me is like watching horror movies. It's like, why would you want to be scared? Or why
It's
would
the
you want to be
adrenaline
sad?
rush, dude.
Not a fan. But which is ironic because so a few weeks ago or last week I tweeted a list of like albums that I liked because somebody it was like a quote check.
Those are the moodiest fucking
Yeah,
albums.
and then
They
like
were.
I just wrote them down like, yeah, these are albums I like, and then our friend Cece, who's been on the podcast before, replied like, "You okay, bro? This is some sad shit." And I'm like, "Oh, I guess it is." Like I don't think of them as sad because I have listened to them so much, and it's like I care more about like the artist because a lot of them are like concept albums, and I like think the concepts are cool, but I don't necessarily like feel. It's more of like a way for me to escape into somebody else's life. You know what I mean? Like one of them is like a concept album about breaking up with somebody, and I've never experienced that, but it's interesting for me to hear how they went through it. It's kind of the same reason I listen to podcasts. I want like a window into somebody else's life, because I'm curious about how other
Fucking
people live their
creepers.
lives.
You're
Yeah.
nosy, Jacob.
I am nosy.
What I find so interesting about albums though is they're so it's I mean it's kind of like our podcast, right, where like you have an episode and like that's where you're at in your life at that moment, but there's some albums that are like 10-15 years old and they don't feel that way anymore. They may be happier or sad or angry or happy or whatever it may be, but it just like this like time capsule of like where their mood is at. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Joseph, what about you?
I don't know. I would say
I stalled so much for you.
you did. I have a thing. I just don't know. I can't figure out the best way to word it, but it's more of an opportunity than an actual thing. But one thing that always makes me happy is being in a situation where I can take in an environment, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So like whenever I go on, like sometimes we'll go on a ski trip, out west, and getting to like see the mountains and being able to just sit and look at the mountains, even if it's for like a little bit, and then like we go do something else or whatever. But like just having that opportunity to take a second and just take that in, I've never been like that's always just brightened my mood. Or like in Florida, like just I went for a walk down the beach and then I would just stop and just like stare at like the beach ahead or like the ocean or something like that, and just being able to take in those moments always brightens my mood for me.
Is
Kinda reminds
it
me
always
of
nature
just-
related?
I was just gonna say nature, dude.
No, it's actually
Yeah.
not. So sometimes on my way to work, if I time it right, as I'm driving, so I work, what is it, east of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and I drive west in the evening, so during sunset, and sometimes during the sunset, it's like behind the city, and seeing the skyline with paired with like the clouds and the sunset and everything. That's one of my favorite things too. Is just driving, and there's this. I can picture this one spot, and I can see like certain buildings of like St. Paul, because right where it is St. Paul. But but yeah, that's another one of those cool moments for me. It's taking in those moments like that, like even coming from work from a shitty day at work. It's like that's always. I mean, everyone gets those, but it's like seeing that like really brightens my mood, and that's what I really enjoy is cool scenery. I would say.
It's funny. I take an extra 3 minutes. I mean, it's 3 to 5 depending on where it goes to go a little bit further out of my way. My commute home because it takes me along a couple of the lakes, and it's just like a very windy. It's a lot slower, like speed wise, versus the highway, obviously. But it relaxes me. It's just there's trees, there's lakes, there's nature, and like something about that really like helps me wind down through the day. Like as I get closer to my apartment, it's more naturey, I guess, and something about that like really helps me calm down and relax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like there's this bike path right by our apartment. In the summer, I would just walk down it and just sit down at some point down in it's right along the river and just kind of take that in. And that always I usually just do that on a weekend, but it's like that always just brighten. It helped too when I was living here alone before Jacob moved in. Feeling lonely, just go down and sit down in the park for half an hour. It's just stuff like that really helps me.
All right.
Probably what my top things.
Okay.
Do you have any answers besides seltzer?
Yeah, because that wasn't my real answer. I do enjoy
I think
seltzers,
it
but I
was.
don't
The
enjoy
voice was uncanny.
what?
I said your voice sounded the same. So
Yeah, right, right. No, I think my serious answer is probably I feel happy when, or what never ceases to make me happy is when I feel confident in what I'm doing and I'm able to like either confidently give someone like an answer about like something that I'm knowledgeable in, or I'm able to like help them out in some other way, like either by having just like giving them someone to talk to or like making them laugh or smile. Um, yeah.
it gives me more of a feeling of pride sometimes, where it's like I'm glad that I was able to do that type of video.
Yeah, I don't know, makes me feel happy. Feel the warm fuzzies inside.
Yeah, the reason I'm reflecting on this more as we're talking about it, but the reason I chose the word always is because I found that some things that have made me happy in the past, like don't anymore because I've just seen them too many times, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like Joseph's talking about like seeing views and like scenery and I mean, growing up I had the privilege we went on a lot of vacations and like I still love like a good view, but I can't enjoy it for as long before I'm like, okay, that's a cool view, let's move on, you know? Like I can't sit somewhere for 30 minutes and like enjoy it that whole time. Like I get, used to it after
Bored
like
of
two
that.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the same with like certain TV shows. I can only rewatch so many times, or like again, like music, I can only listen to so many times. But I don't know. Maybe it's with like YouTube videos. I'm talking about like I haven't seen them enough for I haven't gotten to that point yet. But I don't know, like with like Nikki Jakey and I guess with Gus Johnson too. Like old videos always make me laugh, and I think the reason they make me happy is because I feel like a connection to that person. It's like I understand exactly what you're trying to do, and I really, really appreciate it. And I like how you're just kind of doing it yourself. Like it's very, like DIY, pulling up by your own bootstraps, kind of like making this shit like very hard and fast and dirty, but it's still really, really good because they put their heart into it. And that's the same thing with like, I've talked about a little bit before, but like I'm a huge fan of this channel, Kind of Funny, which I've been following for like 3 years now. And I like it's a classic podcast joke where like you listen to a podcast for long enough, you feel like you're listening to your friends talk in a room, right? And you're kind of part of the conversation. But like when I'm feeling down, I'll just throw on a Kind of Funny podcast, and even just like not even what they're talking about, just hearing their voices makes me a little bit happier because I feel that connection to somebody who I truly like understand because I've quote unquote known them for so long, you know. Um, so I don't know. I think that might be part of it for me is like having that connection to someone's soul, I guess. I don't know, maybe kind of a corny way to put it, but like just fully understanding like I see you, I know what you're doing, and I love it. Keep doing it, and that just kind of makes me happy
Hmm.
in general. So
Interesting.
I kind of like an opposite, like devil's advocate of that. I have like this like thought in my head that like nothing as enjoyable as it is the first time you enjoy something.
hmm
Like if if you watch a movie for the first time, like it's very exciting because you literally do not know what's gonna happen versus the second time. And same with the song, like uh, I mean, I don't know if you guys get it because not everyone gets them, but like getting chills off of music is one of the fucking best feelings in the world. But that, I mean, I've had it listen, like hit me like third or fourth listen or whatever, but the more you listen or more you are exposed to something like stimuli, you end up getting essentially bored of it. I mean, it's the same thing
Yeah.
like a view, right? The more you see it, the more like normalized it becomes. And that's just kind of like a really shitty thing about the human body or like the human mind, I guess. Because like something can be really truly amazing, but you never really, after a while, you kind of take it for granted. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when I was in New Mexico, I got to see literally mountains out my window every fucking day. And the first like week, month was awesome. Like the last 2 weeks I was there, like Patty flew in so we could drive back together, and she's like in awe. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just the mountain, you know, whatever.
See it every day.
Yeah, it's a mountain. It's like whatever. And it's the same thing with like music and movies for me, where it's just like I I obsess over like albums until they become like I know everything about it. I know every turn, and like I'll still enjoy it, but it's not the same as those first 10 listens, you know, where it's
Yeah.
just like
Well, yeah, and with that, I would argue like, yeah, you're over time, like first listen, your enjoyment is super high. Over time, your enjoyment goes down, but I would say your understanding goes up.
yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? And then you reach a point maybe your enjoyment's at the lowest it could be, your understanding's the highest it could be, then you're kind of quote unquote bored of it. But what's nice is you can kind of put that aside for a little bit and maybe come back a few years later and rediscover it, and you still kind of have those feelings you remember, and you can kind of
Yeah.
maybe feel some of that stuff again.
I think so like after I like retire an album, I'll go back to it like a year later and I'm like, "Oh my god, I love this." Cuz all those memories come back and I know everything that's going to happen, but like it kind of gets back that little bit of excitement,
It's that
right?
nostalgia. Yeah.
Right.
It's funny you're talking about the mountains thing because I experienced that in New Zealand. It was the same exact thing. There's a funny Jim Gaffigan joke where he's like, yeah, we're at like Disney Animal Kingdom Hotel in Florida, and we go outside and there's giraffes right outside the window. You know, it's amazing. But by day three, you look out, you're like, giraffes again, huh? You can't change it up a little bit? You know, like,
Exactly.
can we get some lions hunting the giraffes maybe? Like, you know.
Right. It's just a weird part about the human mind where it's just humans just adapt so well that it just becomes boring till you move on to the next thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Not boring, but you know,
Yeah.
usual, typical.
Becomes routine, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's probably why. Oh, go ahead.
I'd say like I grew up in like a beach town, and like the thing that draws people are like the sunsets.
Mhm.
And I definitely had that when I was younger, where it's like, okay, you've seen one sunset, you've seen them all. And like I joke about that a lot. Like I still kind of say that, but I still really get enjoyment from it just because it's such a peaceful thing, you know?
Right.
Like I feel like sunsets and even sunrises, it's one of those things that even if you're doing something, like even if you're driving, you can like glance over or like see the sky, like it's in your periphery. And like to me just immediately it's just a calm. I just associate it with something calm for
Mhm.
whatever reason. And so like yeah, I grew up watching sunsets, but like still like seeing like the South Haven Pier, you know, like that's
The
you know
nostalgia
partly
thing, though.
nostalgia, but also like even I guess in high school it's like whatever, but I don't know, it still would always get me, you know. I
I
just
think,
always it's one of those things that I just always found.
right. I think the perfect way to describe how I feel, this is a SpongeBob reference, so Dave won't get it. But when Squidward moves to his suburb
Oh yeah.
and they do this time lapse of him where he like his first day is awesome. He loves it. But he does it over and over again to where it becomes boring, right? And it
Mhm.
just he ends up like being pretty unhappy by the end of it. I mean, it's comedic, but I think there's a lot of truth into that segment where it's like you may, and I think that's why a lot of people get burnt out of work too, where it's like you may be passionate about something, but if you do it over and over and over and over again for fucking years, it's gonna get boring. Like,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately,
Need some variety in there.
right? But like then you start. I mean, there's also nostalgia to it, where it's like you remember when you did this, and you're at this point. But I don't know. I still think that is just like a weird part of the human mind. Like you just adapt to a point where it becomes typical, so you are more adept at surviving it. I guess if that makes sense.
One thing I heard recently is kind of adjacent to this conversation. We won't make it a whole thing, but I heard a take because somebody was talking about how like people on YouTube, it's like you see all the comments and we'll read like a million good comments and the one bad one will like stick
Mhm.
with you, right? It's like why the fuck did that happen? And somebody said like, well, somebody heard it was like an evolutionary thing, like when humans were starting out and there's going to get food, right? You eat a poisonous berry, you're like, ooh, that berry is really bad. Don't eat that again. So you remember that berry like very distinctly. But then all the good berries, you're like, yeah, these are good. Like, don't need to remember if they're good or bad.
Right.
It's less important to your brain. Whereas a bad thing you need to remember, else you'll die. I don't know if
Hmm.
that's true or not, but I thought it was a very interesting way of looking at it.
It's an interesting hypothesis, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we're all
Huh.
just out here trying to survive. You know what I'm saying?
Keep those bad berries away, you know.
I'm one bad corn dog away from dying, dude.
Good berry vibes only.
Mm, okay.
All right. Well,
Hashtag blueberry's the best berry.
that's our
Fuck
show
outta
for this
here.
week. Thank you all for listening. Again, you can find us every Monday on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. And you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at EWF Podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.